Please, the court, we're before the court this morning, the matter of the State of Ohio versus Stephen Earl Harvey, case number 24CR405. The defendant is present in the courtroom with his attorney, Ms. Rachel Smith. We're before the court this morning for purposes of a hearing on the defendant's motion for intervention in lieu of conviction. Before we get started, this morning, Your Honor, I'd like to make an oral motion to amend the indictment for a clerical error that was made. I spoke with Ms. Smith just prior to coming on the record here today. My understanding is the defense has no objection to this. It's, if I may make that motion at this time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we get started. It's in the forfeiture specification that's attached to this one count indictment. The third line down, it should say, had in his possession, comma, a Glock semi-automatic pistol, comma, magazine, comma, and ammunition. Those are the items that were used as instrumentalities here. It just never made it in the indictment. So
All right.
we'd move to just add that to the forfeiture specification at this time.
Any objection to that?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, it's granted then.
Thank you, Judge. That being said, the parties are ready to go forward on the remainder of the hearing today.
All right, Ms. Smith, you want to address your motion for intervention first before we get started here?
Yes, Your Honor. As previously indicated, we have filed a motion for intervention in lieu of conviction on behalf of Mr. Harvey. It's my understanding that Mr. Harvey has been assessed by the probation department and doesn't meet the requirements for intervention in lieu of conviction. And as such, we would ask the court to grant his motion and accept his guilty plea to be held in abeyance pending completion of the program.
Mr. DePiero is to the motion.
The state has reviewed the evaluation that was completed by Lake Geauga. The state does not object to treatment in lieu.
All right. This is Stephen Harvey, is this the case?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't think this was on my schedule today. Yeah, I don't think it was on there. Now what do I do?
I have it on here.
Yeah, I don't though.
No.
What should I do, Mr. Harvey? I don't have you on my schedule. Should I reschedule this for a couple months down the road?
No, sir, please don't do that. I have completely learned my lesson within this 30 days.
What's
I
the lesson?
sat down.
What's the lesson?
That I made a mistake and I should never do what I did again.
Okay.
And I should think before I make certain moves.
Okay. I mean, you got to tell me, I'm dying to know what the reason is that you didn't know you had to show up to accomplish these reports for this case.
See, I had rescheduled it and I got my dates confused. She told me one Wednesday and I thought it was the next Wednesday.
Okay. I mean, you don't have any record, right?
No,
At
sir.
all?
No, sir.
So, do you realize the seriousness of what you're facing here?
Yes, sir.
Then you need to make this, along with other things, you need to make this a priority in your life. Okay? Because what have you been doing over here for 41 days?
Thinking.
Huh?
Thinking.
Thinking? You come to any conclusions?
Yeah, that I need to change my life.
Yeah. Because that, I mean, what else could you have been doing with those 41 days?
Working to improve myself.
Right. Did you make a lot of friends over here at the jail?
I talked to a couple of people here and there, but I mainly just sit in my dorm and read books.
Okay. What kind of books?
Harry Potter.
Huh?
Harry Potter.
Okay. Well, it's good you didn't make any friends over here because it's like Knucklehead Central over there.
Yeah, definitely agree on that one.
All right, I'm going to grant your motion for intervention. All right, how old are you?
25.
How far did you go through school?
I graduated high school and I started college, but I did not finish.
Where did you start college?
Remington College.
Okay. Are you a United States citizen?
Yes, sir.
And are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, sir.
Did you get a copy of the indictment in this case?
Yes, sir.
All right. And my understanding is you're going to plead guilty to the charge in the indictment, and then I will not enter a finding of guilty, but place you on an intervention plan to complete, at the conclusion of which, if you complete it, the charge will be dismissed. Is that how you understand things?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, before I accept your guilty plea, I need to determine that you know and understand the constitutional rights that you'll be waiving, the consequences of your guilty plea, and the maximum penalty I could give you. And I need to be satisfied that your guilty plea is being made freely, knowingly, and voluntarily. So I'm going to ask you questions.
Okay.
If you don't understand a question, stop me and ask me, all right? If you want to talk to Ms. Smith a little bit more, then stop me and I'll let you talk to her some more. You understand that?
I understand.
You have a constitutional right to have a trial, either to me or to a jury of 12 Lake County citizens. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you go to a jury trial, all 12 members must agree to a guilty verdict before you can be found guilty. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you go to trial, the prosecutor will call witnesses to testify against you. Do you understand the prosecutor must prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt at a trial?
Yes, sir.
After the witnesses are done testifying for the prosecutor, you have the constitutional right to have your lawyer cross-examine those witnesses. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you go to trial, you have the right to have witnesses come here and testify for you. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If those witnesses refuse to come to court, I'll issue an order called a subpoena to make them come and testify. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to testify at a trial if you want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
You have the constitutional right to not testify at a trial if you do not want to. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you decided not to testify at trial, nobody is permitted to use that against you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you go to trial and you're found guilty, you have the right to appeal the guilty finding. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you file an appeal, you have the constitutional right to have a lawyer represent you in the appeal. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you file an appeal, you're entitled to have a transcript of all the hearings in this case. Do you understand that right?
Yes, sir.
Are you waiving that right?
Yes, sir.
If you could not afford a copy of those transcripts, they'd be given to you at no cost. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you plead guilty today, you will not have a right to appeal a guilty finding. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about any of your rights?
No, sir.
Do you still want to plead guilty to this charge?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand by pleading guilty, you're fully admitting your guilt to the charge?
Yes, sir.
You understand by pleading guilty to this felony that if you get convicted, that you're voluntarily giving up your freedom for whatever period of time I sentence you to prison, to jail, or to community control.
Yes, sir.
The attempted having a weapon or attempted illegal possession of a firearm in a liquor permit premises is a felony of the 4th degree. It carries an 18-month maximum prison sentence and a $5,000 maximum fine. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And by pleading guilty to the forfeiture specification, you're voluntarily giving up the weapon and the magazine. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that if you are convicted of this offense, that will prevent you in the future from possessing or owning a firearm?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that if you are convicted of this offense and a prison sentence is imposed, that after your release, you might have to serve a period of post-release control under the parole authority for up to 2 years?
Yes, sir.
And if you are placed on post-release control and you violate conditions, parole authority could send you back to prison for up to 9 months for each violation, up to 1/2 of my sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If your violation were to be a new felony offense, then you could get an additional consecutive prison sentence for the violation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And if that happened, the maximum prison sentence for the violation would be Either 12 months or the time left under post-release control, whichever is more. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you are sentenced to prison in this case, you would be eligible for judicial release. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you are convicted in this case and you're placed on community control, I could do that for up to 5 years, but if you violated any conditions, I could send you to prison for 18 months. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, has anybody promised you that if you get convicted of this and you get sentenced, did anybody promise you what I would sentence you to?
No, sir.
Did anybody promise you, do you understand I wouldn't have to follow a sentencing recommendation of either the prosecutor or your lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Have you had enough time to talk to Ms. Smith before pleading guilty today?
Yes, sir.
Has she discussed everything about your case and answered all of your questions?
Yes, sir.
And are you satisfied with the advice she has given you?
Yes, sir.
Have you been threatened or coerced in any way to plead guilty today?
No, sir.
Are you freely, knowingly, and voluntarily entering your guilty plea?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. DePiero, if this case went to trial, what would the evidence show?
Your Honor, the evidence would show us March 17, 2024, Willoughby, Lake County, Ohio. The defendant, Stephen Harvey, was in downtown Willoughby. It was about 5:30. He was drunk. He was wearing a hoodie-style sweatshirt with a front pocket, and inside of that front pocket, he had concealed a Glock semi-automatic pistol that was loaded with ammunition and an extended magazine, and one in the chamber. The defendant walked towards Malarkey's Irish Pub, which is a bar that was operating. Malarkey's has a D permit issued under Chapter 4303 of the Revised Code to serve alcohol. There were people inside Malarkey's at that time consuming alcoholic beverages. There was a bouncer who was working the door at the time the defendant was approaching. The defendant took steps to enter inside of Malarkey's Irish Pub while he was drunk, while he had this concealed gun. The bouncer stopped him just as he took a step just inside the threshold of Malarkey's. The bouncer saw the outline of this gun in the defendant's front pocket. The bouncer called nearby Willoughby police officers who were on duty on scene. They arrested the defendant, found him to be intoxicated. The defendant said he couldn't remember what was going on. He drank a whole lot of tequila. That gun was taken. It was sent to the crime lab. Crime lab tested it, found it to function normally and be an operable firearm. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ms. Smith, anything to add to those facts?
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
Mr. Harvey, did you hear what Mr. DePiero said, that the facts would show if this case went to a trial?
Yes, sir.
And are those facts true?
Yes, sir.
All right, what is your plea to attempted illegal possession of a firearm in a liquor permit premises, a felony 4?
Guilty.
And what is your plea to the forfeiture specification as amended?
Guilty.
Ms. Smith?
May I first? Your Honor, for purposes of the record, I do have in my hand the written plea of guilty, which I had opportunity to review with my client prior to coming on the record. He is now signing that document, and I will affix my signature to the same.
Your Honor, the defendant and Ms. Smith both signed the document. I signed the document. With the court's permission, I'm approaching to present that to Your Honor. Sorry, closed it.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Harvey,
Yes,
is this
sir.
your signature on this written plea of guilty?
Yes, sir.
And did you sign it voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to accept your written plea of guilty?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll accept the written plea of guilty. Defendant was present when Ms. Smith advised of all of his rights, made a knowing, intelligent, voluntary waiver. He understands the nature of the charge, the consequences of his guilty plea, and the maximum penalties. Finding it to be knowing, intelligent, and voluntary, I will accept his plea of guilty to the attempted illegal possession of a firearm in a liquor permit premises, and the forfeiture specification, and the weapon and the magazine will be forfeited to the state. I will state a criminal proceedings, place you on an intervention program. Ms. Smith, anything you want to say about that?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, so why did you have that gun?
Protection.
Huh?
Protection.
Protection from what?
Everyday things. I was living in a high crime neighborhood at the time.
Where do you live?
My address was in Garfield, but I got kicked out of that house. So I moved in with my grandma at that time. So I was living at 4350 East 136th Street at that time.
Okay. Where do you live now?
Same address.
All right, so what were you doing that day before you showed up in Willoughby?
I had a few shots of tequila
Where?
at my grandma's.
Okay. By yourself?
Yeah.
And then you got you called an Uber?
Yes.
Okay. And you knew, where were you intending to go?
The bar that I was caught at, my sister had called me and asked me to come drink with her, so I decided to.
Where's
go.
your sister live?
She stays in Euclid.
Okay. So your intention the entire time was to take the Uber, go to Malarkey's, and then what? Go where after that?
Back home.
All right. Did you not know that you couldn't take a firearm into a bar?
See, the plan was to put it in the car, in my sister's car, but at that point, the liquor had kicked in and I wasn't thinking clearly.
Okay. How much you drink tequila?
I rarely drink. I'm more so a wine drinker. I'm not a hard liquor drinker.
So what made you drink 2 shots of that poison that day?
I decided to step out of my comfort zone.
Huh?
I decided to step out of my comfort zone, and I regretted it since I did it.
Okay. So tell me about your work history.
I worked warehouse jobs here and there, temporary jobs.
Why?
Just because it's easier to get a temporary job when you're trying to hurry up and get something.
Okay, what's your plan? What's your plan going forward?
Right now, my plan is to work for a few months and then go back to school.
For what?
I want to get my CDLs, commercial driver's license.
You don't even have a driver's license though,
I
right?
know, I got to get that first, but
Okay, why don't you have a driver's license?
I took the test once and I didn't pass, and I just never went back and tried again.
Okay. So when are you going to get your driver's license?
Within the next few months,
Okay. What do you have to do to get your driver's license?
I have to take my temp test, then I have to take my driver's test.
Okay, when are you going to take the temp test?
Within the next month or so.
Now, see, that don't work. It don't work, okay? Because you're 25 now. Okay, when did you said you went to college a little bit. Was that online stuff?
No, it was in person.
Okay, where's that at?
Remington College is in Cleveland, Ohio.
All right. So when did you stop going there?
I started about 2 months after high school, and I stopped about a month after that.
Okay. So you've been working here and there for the last 6, 7 years.
Roughly.
Okay, not that much though, right?
No.
Okay. Why not? How you been paying bills if you ain't been working?
I do odd jobs with my old neighbor.
All right.
Like he does construction and roofing. Sometimes he called me to help him out.
All right. What's the reason you can't walk out of jail today and go to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, get a booklet, and start studying for the temp test, and take the temp test next week?
There is no reason, because I absolutely can't do that today.
Okay, you need to do that, okay?
Understood.
All right, if your goal is to get a CDL and drive, then in order to accomplish that, you need to do a whole bunch of stuff before that, right?
Correct.
Okay, and starting that within the next couple of months, all that does is kind of perpetuate what you've been doing, okay? Because you're the kind of guy so far, okay, and we'll see if that changes, is that here's what you're gonna do, okay, like tomorrow or next week. You know, you're kind of like, you know, why do today what I can put off till tomorrow? Okay, tomorrow is today. Okay, you got to get it together and start. Because you're 25, you're not 18. Okay,
Yes, sir.
you need to start living your life the way you intend to live it. Okay, because you ain't been in trouble until now, which is really unusual for people walking in here. So you got an advantage that most people sitting there don't have. Okay, that advantage is you can come out of this thing without a conviction, without a felony, and then you're in control of your life. Okay, right now you're not in control because you've been sitting here for 41 days, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but the fact that you're not in control is completely your fault.
Correct.
Okay, and that shit needs to stop. Okay?
Yes, sir.
It's going to stop if you motivate yourself to do what you got to do, all right, to get the license, get back to school, get the classes done for the CDL, pass whatever you need to do, and then get to work. And you can make a pretty good buck doing that. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're going to, the terms of your plan, we're going to do a 3-year plan. And maybe it needs to last 3 years, maybe it doesn't. We'll have to see how you do. But once again, that's in your control, all right?
Understood.
So you're going to serve 41 days in jail with credit for 41. You're not going to, no drugs or alcohol, and you're going to get screened occasionally. What kind of drugs have you done in the past?
Marijuana.
Okay, no more marijuana. Okay.
Understood.
Okay. I want you to do a drug and alcohol evaluation
Okay.
and then follow whatever recommendations are made. You're going to get full employment, or you're going to go to school full-time, or you're going to do a combination of both that equates to full-time, okay?
Okay.
No sitting around.
Understood.
No more odd jobs. Okay, you're going to get your driver's license.
Understood.
And you're going to get it right quick. And you're going to pay the, well, we pay the cost and supervision fees. Ms. Knaus, any other terms for that plan?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. So if we go back in the time machine and it's March 17th, 2024 at noon, what's your plan?
To do everything over, but differently.
What would you do differently?
I'm gonna be honest, I would have never left home that day. I would have never bought alcohol. I would have did something more so productive.
Okay. What are you doing this March 17th?
Looking for a job. Hopefully I'm at work.
Okay. You know what I used to do on March 17th? Back when I was practicing law, you know what I would do? No, you don't, but I'm going to tell you what I would do. My office was in Willoughby, pretty near Malarkey's over there. And in the building I was in, I was on the second floor, and I could see Euclid Avenue and Erie Street down there, where all them bars are. And I would sit there and I would wonder, how many of those people am I going to be representing tomorrow because they're getting in trouble today? And it usually worked out that way, where I got a lot of business out of people being knuckleheads on a day that they have no reason to celebrate, don't have any idea what who St. Patrick is or what St. Patrick's Day represents. It's just a chance to go out and get hammered up and act like a fool. So no more of that shit, right?
Understood.
Okay. Do you understand all the terms of the plan?
Yes, sir.
Any questions about it?
No, sir.
It's real easy here, okay? You do these things, and then at the end of this time period, whether it's 3 years or potentially less than 3 years, depending on how you do, then it gets dismissed, and it's like it didn't exist except for the lesson contained therein, right?
I understand.
If you don't comply, then the state will bring it to my attention to terminate the plan, and if I terminate it, then you're convicted of this offense, right?
I understand.
Okay, then this whole 18-month in prison stuff is hanging out there. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Any questions at all?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. DePiero, anything else?
No, hope the defendant takes some action, full and form.
Ms. Smith?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Harvey?
Yes, sir.
It's time for you to take control of your life, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's it.